فکر بهبود خود ای دل بکن از جای دیگر کاندر این شهر طبیب دل بیماری نیست.
The word for breath and wind is the same word for spirit in many languages. In Persian poetry, this word is Nafas.
Hi, I'm Susan Summers, and you're watching Texas Nafas, Austin's poetry show on Channel Austin. Behind the camera is our producer, Fareed Mohammadi, and today's guest is Lyman Grant, the former Dean of the Arts and Humanities at ACC and former Chair of Creative Writing, and now he has entered partial retirement to be just a teacher. Whatever that may mean for you.
Yeah.
And he is a professor of creative writing and humanities. And we're here to talk to you about some poetry. And I would
Fantastic.
just love to get you started reading poetry just right off the bat.
Okay.
How about that?
I'll start off with a poem from a book called The Road Home.
I recently read this. I had a complete relationship with this book. We fell in love, we broke up, we tried to move on. It was very difficult.
I know, but we'll work it out. We'll work it out, I promise.
It does have a happy ending.
It does have a happy ending.
It reads front to back as a complete story,
Yeah,
almost as a poetic memoir.
it is. I tend to write from my life most of the time.
Okay.
And so I'll start off with just a poem called Searching the Parking Lot for a Poem. And it actually has my college in it. The parking lot is the College of Austin Community College at the Northridge campus. So, though I've been silent several months, I might now write about a man and a woman in a parking lot. This parking lot is very large, acres, and there are but few cars huddled beneath the scattered trees like cattle in western Kansas. I would want to be clear to make understood that the distances are vast and that the air contains a heat something like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like the air like that last still moment inside a balloon just before the balloon blows up. I could say something about the man and his marriage, about the woman and her marriage, but I might not. It would be better to mention that his car was a long way from her car, but that he walked with her all the way to the far end of the lot where her car stood, and then when she left, he walked all the way back. I would not make the reader think this journey was difficult, like desert fathers searching thirstily for Christ. I would just want to point out that they were together a long time, and then the man was without her a long time. Merely that. Because the poem is not about the parking lot or all they're walking about. The poem occurs when they arrive at her car and they stand looking at each other. This is where the huge distances are, the inches separating two bodies. Here I find unbearable heat. Here is the silence, so full of words, they float between parked cars, waiting to call her back with this poem.
See, that's where I fell in love with the book. Yeah.
Thank you.
It kept going. And one of my other favorites I was going to request out of there is Absolution.
Mm-hmm. I can read that. It's funny that, maybe I can say this, Absolution and Searching for a Parking Lot for a Poem, I wrote those kind of together. I mean, within the same week, they sort of both developed. And the woman that these are addressed to and about really liked Absolution. And Searching the Parking Lot for a Poem was one of those poems that I think every poet has. They write and they go, that's different. You know, that one's, I'm doing something that I don't know what I'm doing that's a little different. And so anyway, it's interesting that you pick both of those because they have a relationship, you know, at least in, you know, in my writing of them. So this one's titled Absolution. Come with me and step into this grove of cedars. Let us breathe together deeply sense of old forest morning. Let us spread upon these leaves bright quilts patched by 1,000 grandmothers, their sad, sad gifts for daughters, beds of faith and duty. If you wish, I will call paintbrush, firewheel, and gay feather to bloom again out of season, or I will drop blossoms of wild summer roses into clay bowls filled with cool water, and with cloth torn from my shirt, I will wash your hands and neck, your face and feet, your breast and sex. If you wish, I will sweeten your naked strength with almond oil, then leave you to rest in warm cedar shade. I will stand beneath the cruel sun until he falls from his pulpit and the white moon sings from her loft the song of your magnificence. And when you call, if you call, I'll return to you. I will carry a bottle of perfect wine heavy on the tongue with one last taste of cherry and loaves of crusty bread light as fish inside, tasting of sesame and olives. Together we will serve the other who has always been traveling with us. We who are wanderers all have our stories, but I, who love you now, hear nothing to forgive. I can only stand on firm ground and admire you. I see volcanoes in your soul. I hope someday to dance inside. I bow before the 10,000 births that nest in you.
What woman wouldn't love that poem? Let me just tell you. That's sensational. So sexual and romantic and adoring.
It was nice
We
to
like
be,
adoring.
it was, you know, in one sense, this is my midlife crisis book.
Oh, okay.
I hate to diminish it in that way, but you know, it's 20 years ago now that these poems were written, so it's interesting to read them again now.
Good, good. You want to read one more from that collection? Maybe something from the back of the book?
Sure. In the back of the book, I'm dealing with a pregnancy. My wife, or a woman who would soon be my wife, became pregnant. The kids do know this, and so I wrote poems, 33 poems during the pregnancy, and some of those are in here. Since I was on this, the theme of absolution to me has a lot to do with respect for women, right? And that the whole world of poetry of seduction and, you know, often comes loaded with, you know, with Zeus power, right? With abduction and rape on some level.
On some levels.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
and so in that poem I was trying to back away from that and be a male who is a servant to female beauty, right, rather than a male who captures female beauty. And so this is another one of those. I wrote 3 poems about not being married to the woman who was pregnant, and this was number 2, and it's kind of on the same theme.
Okay.
Not quite as tender, but it's a little short poem. Thoughts on Not Being Married, number 2. After 40 centuries of Re and Yahweh, of Caesar and Zeus, of Bismarck and Bush, I vow never to stand at the foot of our bed with my 1,000 drunken comrades, never to leave you to the hairy-eared priest with trembling hands, never to lock a door to which you don't also hold the key. you know.
Again. See?